Hey, do you like my whoopeel? Do you like my mask? Well, you better, because I acquired them with something called integrity. Because I do not have $1 billion budget at my disposal. I do not have a whole complex of museums, the largest in the world. But I do have a sense of integrity, of ethics. I do not want to screw Indigenous people over the way the Smithsonian has done for generations. All the bullshit Indiana Jones, I'm an anthropologist, rah, 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 urban explorers. Let's fill the curiosity cabinets with all of the skulls of non-white people that we can find, and let's compare them to Europeans and people of European descent to show that, oh, we're the superior race, we're the superior culture. It's all about West, 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 this and that. Yeah, the Smithsonian over the past 5 years since the George Floyd awakenings has made some strides. To their credit, they put some of the DEI stuff into effect. They started hiring some more non-white people. They started, apologizing to some of the indigenous cultures who they had stolen shit from. They started repatriating stuff. They started this process of like, hey, did we steal from your culture? Can you prove this? Which, that's kind of tricky too. I'm not saying it's a perfect process, but they're trying. They are trying. And then today, Trump was like, oh yeah, uh, the Smithsonian's too woke. The Smithsonian has gone too far. The Smithsonian needs to scrub clean. Here's a quote: anything that's improper, divisive, or anti American ideology. What? So some of the good stuff, like let's bring in some more Black curators, let's do some Black Panther stuff, let's have this whole African American museum. Oh, this American Indian museum that we opened, let's make it even more in touch, put it more in touch with indigenous people. Let's have them be more involved. Oh, the Hispanic and Latino museum, finally getting passed in 2020. Not that it's up and running. No, there's just the bill passed to even accept it, to make it possible, right? Even though, and I was part of this movement as a teenager, as somebody who's Salvadoran and has a drip drop of Guatemalan descent too. Um, for a couple of decades, the Smithsonian Latino Center, which is not a museum, it is basically an office and then a teeny tiny exhibit. Definitely cannot call it a museum, but it's part of the American History Museum now. They have the little presence there. It was 15, 20 years of just, hey, could we please have this museum? Please. We have all these other things on the National Mall. Could we please have this? Yeah, but the Smithsonian is far from perfect. I'm not asking for perfection, but I am asking for the museum, for the whole institution. It's more than one museum, for the institution to keep moving in the direction that it's been moving in since about 2020. Yeah, some good stuff over these last 5 years. And now Donnie Boy, who, is the same guy who said about the white nationalists in Charlottesville in 2017 that there were some good people in that crowd. These were people who supported this Robert E. Lee statue just staying there, right? And Trump's like, no, we need to have basically all this American propaganda in plain sight. He wants those Confederate statues restored. It's not just about the Smithsonian, it's also about these monuments to the villains of American history. Anything that was on federal land that was removed in the wake of the George Floyd stuff, he wants that, all of those monuments, all of those statues put back. What? What? No. That's insanity. I used to drive by a Jeb Stuart statue on my way to VCU in Richmond, Virginia every morning in college. Okay, every fucking morning. And this was a city where we had this whole lineup of Confederate statues on something called Monument Avenue. And at the very end of Monument Avenue, we had one black person, one black hero, and that was Arthur Ashe. And his statue looked ridiculous compared to these regal Confederate statues, these elegant, truly like breathtaking monuments. His statue, if you don't know, Arthur Ashe was a famous black tennis player and he grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and that's why he has the statue there in Richmond today. His statue was of him holding a tennis racket, but in a very aggressive stance. Not a good look for a city that's had a history of the Confederacy and segregation, Jim Crow, all that stuff. So, famous black tennis player, aggressive face, aggressive stance with a tennis racket, and all these little children at his feet. It looks like he's gonna pummel the kids, okay? So now you want all these disgusting Confederate statues reinstated. You want this National Women's Museum exhibition that includes trans folks removed because that's anti-American. You want all this 1960s stuff, civil rights. You want civil rights. You want that removed from the Smithsonian. How are children supposed to learn? What are they supposed to learn? Oh, they're supposed to learn that America is great and has always been great and will always, always be great. I don't know about you, but I think that truly loving something is about recognizing the good and the bad. If you love someone, let's talk about a spouse, a relationship, a romantic relationship, right? If you love your spouse, if you really love them, you recognize their good qualities and their bad qualities, and you take them as they are because you love them as a fully fleshed human being, right? Yeah, you probably know something about their life before you two met and before you became a couple. It doesn't matter. You accept that, right? And like there's learning and there's growth that has happened since that history, and you have your own history. And that's part of, you both like had to go through things to become the people who you are, to be ready for each other, to be ready for a loving, serious, romantic relationship. In terms of patriotism, I don't think you can truly love your country. I don't think you can truly dedicate yourself to your country if you don't acknowledge that it's complex and that it's also fucked up. That your country has done some bad things. Not all bad. Hey, I'm the child of an immigrant. My mom is very happy that she left war-torn El Salvador for the United States. Does she think that this place is perfect? No. Has it given her opportunities to try and have like a comfortable, normal life? Like have her basic needs met and then some? Yes. She's had some taste of the American dream. And I don't believe that that is complete bullshit. I do think it's easy to be cynical. I think it's better to be skeptical. And as a skeptic, not a cynic, as a skeptic, I say that this whole Smithsonian thing, the whole Confederate statue reinstatement thing, this is fascism. And I do not use that word lightly. I do not think that that is like a cute little word that we should just sprinkle on everything. No, fascism is when we squash free speech, like in this case, and it's the same with the universities right now. It's the same with Columbia. It's the same with Mahmoud Khalil. You can't just say, like, oh, yes. I mean, you can apparently. You can apparently just say these things. But in an actually free country, you do not, as the leader, say these things. In an actually free country, your people should be allowed to express themselves. And that includes the nerds. That includes the historians and the museum curators. They should be allowed to analyze history, to reflect, to create exhibitions that are actually about shit that happened so that our kids can learn and so that we as adults can learn. We keep learning. We should not stop learning. All of this all of this anti-intellectualism, all of this anti-university, anti-academic freedom, anti-information? No, that is not okay. That is not going to make America great again. It's not going to make America baseline decent. It's just a nosedive into fascism. These museums are supposed to be a beacon for this country. They're not supposed to be propaganda machines. They are supposed to be a place where anyone can walk in for free. The only one that charges any kind of admission is the Smithsonian Cooper Hewitt Museum of Design in New York City. But all of the National Mall Smithsonian museums are free.